One to episode 3 of the Doc and Brent show, where we discuss everything with NFTs and smart contracts. Brent, how are we doing today?
Excellent. We're going to clear up some things that might be confusing for anybody watching as it relates to picking NFTs and understanding just what the ecosystem is, depending on also, I guess you say the author. How they call authors, creators?
Sure, creators. Yep.
Yeah.
Good times. All right. So what we're going to do today is we're going to be looking at all this. Brent's going to ask me some questions. We're going to look at this together because, again, we're all just exploring and finding this out and seeing what happens. I'm going to talk about some different platforms that I use when we're looking at different opportunities with NFTs. We're going to look at some case studies or use cases, ones that Brent was talking about, and we'll go from there. So, Brent, first of all, let's set the stage. Which NFTs do you want to talk about and why?
Okay, so recently there was a release. It wasn't recent, but there was a release of a platform called Dirty Birds. And for anybody who doesn't know, many of these creators of NFTs, it's one thing to create an NFT; it's another thing to create an ecosystem around the NFT. So many creators who are going for the long game. Not only will they create these images or these likenesses of different items, people in some cases, but they create games around them, because they want you to play the game, earn more crypto, and get as deep or as involved with the platform as possible. You can trade them like playing cards. It really is about gamification of the NFTs to give them longevity. Some of them are tied to smart contracts, and some of them are tied to just bonus benefits as a result of being an owner of a particular NFT, be it, getting a free sneak peek of a software, being able to go to a conference at a discounted price or for free, whatever it is. Sometimes they're tied to these various platforms.
Cool. Awesome. So which ones do you want to look at? And we'll kind of go through this. First of all, do you use Nansen at all, Brent?
No, I just looked at that when you pulled it up.
Okay, cool. All right, so we're gonna look at a couple ones that I use and talk about pros and cons and how we use it. Which ones are you specifically looking for today that we go through?
Now, I think with the Dirty Birds, I think it'd be important to just show people the vastness of it first.
Yeah.
And then we can zero in on maybe one or two of the birds.
Okay, cool. Do you have the address, or what is it?
Let me pull it up. Give me 1 second.
All right. So as we're looking at this, there's a couple different ones. And we're going to look at if it's play to earn, all those different things, and kind of go through this. What I usually do to check out or who I'm going to be following on what's going on with people, I go on Twitter, and then I actually create a list, and I have my private crypto and NFT list. And then I have about 21 creators that all I do is just follow what they're talking about. And then from there, I'll start making decisions on, okay, what should I be doing? Which projects do I see? Does it seem legit? All of those kind of things. So we're going to look at one of these. I remember you sent me that the other day.
Yeah, no, I'm pulling it up. And, when you look at these creators, you would ask me that, right? You asked me a question like, what do they do? How do they do it? What makes them relevant?
Yeah.
On Twitter, are you looking to see how engaged the community is, or are you just looking to see the size of the community?
All right. So there's a couple different things. The size of I'm not looking at the size of the community on Twitter. I'm looking for that on Discord. Then I'll decide on that. So there's another platform that I'm not going to show on stream really, that I use as a marker to check, but I would not. The problem is this: if you look at it by face value and you say, hey, I'm going to just look at this and then this is going to be how it pops, it's going to be an aggregate of a lot of different things. Number one, their reach on Twitter, how engaged are they, who follows them, and then their Discord, how fast is it really growing daily and weekly? That kind of helps me decide what's going on from there.
Oh, so you're looking for growth rates too?
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. So it's not enough because everyone can just, if you don't see the growth rate, it's very easy to fake the rest. So I'm looking at how good is the growth rate in real time, and from there, then I'll make decisions.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't know that part. Let
Hmm.
me see.
So that's what I'll kind of do from there. Nansen, there's a couple things I'll go when I'm inside the program, and then from that one. Brent, did you send me that project?
I did. I think it was an email, but I'm
Oh, you
trying
sent
to.
it. Hold on one second.
It was on OpenSea, so I'm going to OpenSea now.
Let's just, what's it called?
Dirty Birds.
Let's see. All right, so it's a Dirty Bird Fight Club.
Yeah.
All right, let's see. Okay, so Dirty Bird Fight Club. So there's a couple of things I'd be looking at. Okay, so the floor is 0.03, volume 982. Okay, so I'm gonna go over here. I'm gonna go over to their website. Okay, so 6,500 followers. Let's see how active they are. Okay, it's the 17th. It's the 19th today. 24 hours. Okay. Okay, so they're pretty active. One thing that I noticed is only 31, 35, couple of retweets, 36. I'm seeing consistent of about between 60 and 105 likes, between 6 and 10 retweets. This is interesting. Do you know when they launched?
No, no. I saw it probably about a month ago.
All right, let's see. Let's take a look at this. All right, so a couple of things with this. Okay, so they're sold out. Okay, that's fine. It depends on how fast they sold out.
But also, if you go to OpenSea, where it says view on OpenSea,
Yeah,
it
right here.
yeah. So if you scroll down, some of those have never been bid on, so you can actually they're buy now. So I don't understand why the site says sold out, but there's some available here.
Well, because it was minted because people are already changing hands here. So this person already minted it from their site. So Dirty Bird. So now we can look at it, right? So when did they do this? 14 days ago. So probably this was the initial right here. This is showing their transaction history. So they got it 14 days ago. They listed it on OpenSea this time. So yeah, it makes sense why it's sold out. So the initial minting on their website was 14 days ago, 2 weeks ago approximately.
Mm-hmm.
Then they had it. He listed it. Someone offered it 0.04. He didn't take it. He listed it again, and right now he's just trying to dump it.
Okay.
And he's listing it a little bit lower than what someone offered it 6 days ago. And you look at it 6 days ago, and then he didn't do the offer. Then he's trying to dump right here.
So right now he's below what he paid because he paid 0.1, and it looks like he put it back on for 0.03.
Well, right here we don't know how much he paid. I could check, but he listed it. So he listed
That
it
was
for
his list. I got you. Okay.
yeah. So I don't know what he paid for. I guess we could check, but either way, it's pretty low. The question that I'd have is back to Dirty Birds. Okay. The question that I would have, okay, our story. So I would look at like their roadmap on what they're trying to do.
Mm-hmm.
So I see this here. I see events. So let me just read right here. Underground label. Okay. 2015, 2005. Okay. That's great. Love NFTs. Uniquely positioned. Okay. That's fine. This doesn't tell me if I'm going to be flight paths and perks. Here we go. Randomly selected Dirty Bird Flight Club, early adopters, blah, blah, blah. 25,000 will be donated. Artists will drop exclusive unreleased music to the community that has it. Okay. Special token. Okay. Gated merch drops. Okay. So you're basically given the opportunity to pay them more money to have this.
Mm-hmm.
That's about it. Now, again, I would see that if there was someone that is really into this and has an association or knows this record label, they might see a longevity, long term of what this project is going to do. But regarding
Uh, I believe you froze for a second. You said regarding Doc, and it stopped after that.
Oh, do you have me back now?
Yep, you're back.
Um, yeah, regarding this one, I don't think it would have the longevity or what the current market for NFTs, because I just don't see it long term. It's not like Yakuza Cats where they're planning a huge like metaverse and competition, or even like Steph Curry's. This one, I think this is very niche. And I think if they're trying to do this for, it depends on how big their music audience is. I could see them doing something like that. Or anyone perhaps on the record label if you get exclusive access to them, but they're not even saying that in their roadmap. So that's why I'm not a huge fan of this.
No, and you know, for everybody who's watching, these are the things that you kind of have to go through the quality assurance checks, because there's so much dropping in the ecosystem of just NFTs. And really, some of these people, I mean, let's call it what it is. They're going out, they're hitting Fiverr or some other platform. And I'm not saying everybody, I'm just saying some. And they're asking them to send 100 images of frogs. And then they're saying, okay, now everybody can buy these NFTs at some said price. You have to make sure there's a body and a breadth of depth to whatever it is you're buying. Like, what is the use case? Like, what does the roadmap look like? You know, how many people are in their, social media platforms? Because social media really does play pretty heavy into it. That it gives you the ability to have demand. And everything about economics is supply demand curve. NFTs are no exclusion from that. There has to be demand to actually drive up the price if there's limited supply. That's the whole reason why they burn coins and all types of other things, which we won't go into. But, the bigger that community, the stronger the supply, the demand curve is going to be. And the more restricted the supply volume is, the higher the price you can yield. So this was actually a really good exercise.
Yeah. So, I mean, and I remember when you were sending it to me, I was like, so how did you get in touch with this? Were you on Discord and then someone just sent this to you, or how did you get in touch with this?
I was on OpenSea and I put in something in search, and like it just trending now or something came up, and this was one of them.
Yeah, and the thing is too, where a lot of people are making a lot of quick money is they'll again mobilize everyone in the community being like, we're going to all buy now, or we're going to all do this. And then they're going to trigger the algorithm in OpenSea that's then going to have other people see that it's trending, and then other people buy in.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So again, it's the same way. This is the really like the ultra Wild West when it comes to this. There's no regulation. There's no nothing. There's no nothing.
Yeah, they can kill us tomorrow.
Yeah. Now the difference is, and some people might say like, well, there is a caveat, and I do want to talk about this. So why am I kind of bullish, or there's a couple things that are different than like NBA Top Shot and things like this? Okay. Mm-hmm. So I've bought Top Shots before all of these things. That's okay. That's okay. But the thing is, what's different with a general NFT than something like Top Shot or anything like this, when they had bots and when they had things going crazy on Top Shot, did you know what they did, Brent? Did you hear about this?
No, tell me.
They just shut it down. They just stopped trading. Okay. In a real NFT, crypto, DeFi, technically that's not supposed to happen. You cannot be able to shut that down. Well, guess what? They did, because it's not a true NFT and it's not a true DeFi market. Okay. It's an entity that is catching on a wave and something that is very profitable now. And they're going. Now, again, later on, they are having, like you were talking about, deploying utility and all these things. Depending on what they're doing, they're also having real life implications of what you can do with the NBA and things like that. But keep in mind what Top Shot is doing. That is not a true like NFT or anything like that. It is centralized control, which is the opposite.
So with this NBA Top Shot, which has baffled me. So like a person can go on here and buy this clip.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
This same clip is on Sports Zone and every other TV show across the nation.
Yeah.
What is the benefit of owning that clip?
I mean, I think you're speaking at a very high level of what's the point of owning things off of OpenSea or anything like that. It's the
Yes.
same exact thing.
But what can you? But this is, to me, this is something that's going to be like, I'm gonna see this on NBA highlights.
If I wanted, but if I wanted to see a CryptoPunk, I can just look at Jay-Z's profile and just copy it.
Yes. So what is the benefit? All right, then yes, I'm asking a very broad stroke question. Like, why own NFTs? You know, what is the true value in it? Like, how do you, if everybody across the world is watching this and seeing this, or checking out Jay-Z's or the Mona Lisa or anything, like I forget what they called it. It was like some crypto version of Mona Lisa, and the person shredded the original work, and so it was only the digital asset left. And I'm like, that's cool. People are shredding, burning, they're defacing artwork, so whatever the original digital piece is still there. If somebody can get this and download it or take a picture of it, why is it relevant?
Because you talked about at the beginning, it's supply and demand. It's FOMO. If people decide that it's valuable at a community or tribal level, it then has value. That's it.
Yeah.
I mean, if we're looking at different parts of art throughout history, what makes certain art valuable? The community says this is now valuable. The curator at the museum is saying this is something that is valuable to society. I see it no difference with Top Shot or NFTs or anything like that. The moment that the public is willing to pay a premium for that, that is going to be the market. And also, I think the difference of transferring it and not having a lot in person is also appealing to this generation than a art gallery persona, because a lot of ones, millennials and others, don't want to have a storage and pay for security and have all of these things or art. They would rather just have it digital and have it secure, and you can do that with NFTs. So I think it's something like that. Instead of me worrying about like trading cards and worrying about, am I going to keep it like safe and getting it graded? Well, I can just go to Top Shot and just have those moments right now, and I don't have to pay another third party to rate them or anything like that. I know this is authentic. I can buy it, and then I'm good to go. So I really think it's no different than what's popular now. I don't. So I'm just being honest with you. I don't see the value in a lot of these NFTs. I see the value of how much it's worth and how much I'm going to flip it for other things. Mm-hmm. And so if people want to say, this is how much I'm willing to do it, but it's a status, it's a flexing thing. Jay-Z and Steph Curry and Nade Shot from 100 Thieves, why are they having their profiles on Twitter as CryptoPunks? Because it's a flex that they have the money to do it. Like that's all it is. And how is that different than having a car, than having jewelry, than having anything else? It's a flex. So if I wanted to, I can easily just make a print of this and put it on my wall. It's just like anyone that has Van Gogh prints all the time throughout this thing. But that's where I see it going. And I try not to get wrapped up in it any more than that, because if not, it can be a serious like spiral trying to guess what's going to happen next. Because even if I go to Moby, right, and I go look at traits.
What is Moby?
So Moby.gg allows you to see what's going on in the market, what's minting, what's happening in the market, a couple of things. Now, of course, depending on if you unlock all of them, it's like 0.1 ETH for like, I think it's lifetime or something like that. Oh, they changed it. 0.1 for 6 months. So they just changed it. That means that they're popping off then. That's interesting. I should have bought it for a lifetime. Anyway, so if you're looking at these traits,
0.1 ETH is like $300, right?
I don't know. I've got like 0.1 in my wallet. It's like 400 right now.
Okay.
Yeah. So right here, you're seeing what kind of tokens are being dropped or what kind of NFTs. That's another one. So we'll talk about Jungle Freaks in a second. But like, if you're looking at commonalities of what's happening and what's going to pop and what's going to people are going to pay for, it's going to drive you to drink if you're going to try to pick the next winner. There's no commonalities. It's the people that support them, the ones that decide to gas them up, or the ones that really like the artist that is behind it. But for the most part, people are going to invest in these right now, and they're trying to guess what's going to happen.
So with this Moby platform, they were ranking the what's coming, like, or what's available.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And they used to have a lifetime offer. They don't have a lifetime offer anymore.
Nope. Last week they changed it. So I was just here. I was there like 4 days ago, and it was 0.1 for a lifetime. Now they're doing 0.1 for 6 months.
Okay.
Just an example. I mean, is it necessarily the best one? No. They do different things than Nansen, but
So Nansen and Moby do similar things.
It can, but Nansen's more advanced, I would say. It's just a different way to curate. So Moby is, I like how they're doing traits. That's interesting to me. I haven't seen that really in Nansen. I just like this.
Okay.
But if I'm only going to use this, I can just use the free version right here. I don't need anything advanced. And then Nansen is the one that I pay for. But now I can look at like hot contracts, what's happening, what's popping off right now. I'm looking at what's going on with hot NFT contracts right now. And then I can go into like NFT Paradise and take a look at what's trending in real time and stuff like that. And then, of course, Mint Master is what's happening minting versus like what's going on in the secondary market and stuff like that.
And so you want to get the mint. Okay, so let's liken this for me. This is actually a good discussion for anybody who's watching this or who's watching the replay. In the stock market, normally when an IPO hits, that's when unsophisticated investors run to the IPO because it's a lot of fanfare. They feel like the IPO is where they want to be. But in reality, most seasoned investors, we don't touch IPOs. We 2 weeks out, max 2 weeks out or more, because that's when the smoke clears and everybody who thought this thing was going to pop and keep going, they realize it popped and deflated. And that's when the real investors come in and buy it. Is that similar to the NFT space where when things get minted, people try to rush to it? Or is a secondary market where you really want to be?
That's a really good question. So there's two different ways of doing it. So that's a really good question. There are ones that do a spray and pray where they're just going for every mint and they're just trying to go and say, hey, if I get 5 of these, it's only a matter of time. Something's going to pop. It's going to work. The other version is if you call it more the bigger players will see what's happening on OpenSea. And before it really takes off, then they'll go and try to make a killing on it. Mm-hmm. And so, but that takes a little bit more because why? You're paying secondary and you're going in there. So like, say for instance, you're saying, okay, this is what's happening right now. What's happening? Where should I be going? Where should I be spending my money? Okay. So if you do that, now you're getting a premium. So CryptoPunks are what? How much are they right now for one?
Yeah.
I don't even know. Let's check.
And while you're doing that, how much is Nansen?
Like $125 a month.
Okay. Do they have a lifetime offer?
This ain't AppSumo. No.
I mean, the other one did, so I was like, you gotta ask.
No,
right?
but that one's so new. Look, I mean, they're not even saying floors. Yeah, so last ones are 33, 27s. Like, so right now people aren't even trying to sell them, because they're trying to hold for a while, right? So if you're looking at these, you're looking at, 33 starting. I mean, I've seen them close to 129. So I mean, that's when you're doing party bids.
Does this not look like a 80s Atari game gone wrong?
Oh yeah.
Okay. I was like, am I missing something?
No, it doesn't make the whole thing is this is why I told you before. Like, stop. You got to stop making sense of it. It does okay. I think I've already said this on this one, or maybe not. I haven't seen it. Let's talk about who has the most money to spend. It's
Yeah.
usually ones that started in more than 3 years ago. How old are they? The ages range from they started when they were 16 to 17 or early 20s most of the time. And now you're in your early 20s or you're at the oldest mid 20s. You've got hundreds if not thousands of just basically Ethereum, right? ETH.
Hmm.
So paying 100 of this or 50 of that or doing something like that, they bought it for pennies. They bought it for pennies or fractions of pennies when they first got started. So for them, if they like a certain artist or sometimes just screwing with people, they will just mess up the market. And people that are just getting in will be like, oh, that's hot. And they'll just flood. And it's nothing but a game to them. They've already made their millions. They've already made, they have nothing better to do. So the influx of, I told this, my sister was, I was like, look at what just sold for this. She's like, this is ugly. Well, you could say that with any art piece or whatever, but especially now, a lot of these kids are just trolling people. And
Hmm.
so what works and what doesn't work, like I'll give you an example, like the Jungle Freaks. Do you know who designed it and that project?
No, who did that?
Okay, so like Jungle Freaks is the creator that used to do like all of the art for Hustler, that men's magazine years ago, and
Yeah.
now he has a following. There's also kids that like him, and so his project just went crazy. I tried to get it, and then the gas fees were like $10,000 as I was trying to get it, and I said no. But
Wow.
with this, you could see like, okay, it's the storyline. He has the pedigree. He's reaching a very specific audience, and it's retro, and there's all of these other factors, right? Is that necessarily? I'm saying so. It's layers of why this is happening.
Hmm.
But CryptoPunks, they started years ago. A lot of people wanted it. Okay, so now this is 0.6. Yep. So you were getting it at 0.08 before. You can see the trend of how much it is. Let's look at the floor. Yeah. So again, when we're looking at this, it doesn't have to look pretty. It doesn't have to be, all of these things. It's just going all over the place. 0.9. So the floor is 0.9. Mm-hmm. Makes sense. So it's all over. And then people are dumping and pumping already. So like
And so
that's
you're
what
saying the gas fees might be more than the actual piece itself.
absolutely. Absolutely. Because if you're trying to get it at the mint, if you're getting it at the mint and everyone's trying to get on the network to do it real quick, they might pay the gas fee to get it.
Mm.
So a lot of times, if you're getting it for a really low price, and now of course there's a difference, and that's why if you look at what Gary did and a few others, which is smart, but a lot of people don't like it, is doing a Dutch auction. If you're doing a
Yeah.
Dutch, then people are just waiting. People are chomping at the bit because they don't want to be paying high. They want to wait until it drops,
Mhm.
and then every hour it drops in price. So that avoids the gas wars.
Got
But a
it.
lot of artists just don't care. They're like, okay, you want this art, and everyone's going to try to sell it. They don't care, which is another reason why Solana works a lot better with drops anyway. Because
Okay.
again, Ethereum, you're hitting what? You can do 8 to 11 transactions per second. If you have everyone trying to buy 10,000 tokens in the first minute, the gas fees are going to be insane. And then if you keep refreshing and waiting for gas fees to go down, you've got to wait within like 10 minutes, 15 minutes, but then it could be sold out.
Yeah. No, I got it. And with Solana and some of these other platforms now that are coming out, I'm investing in the technology. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm investing in Solana, Ethereum. I still own some Ethereum Classic, and which is the original. But it seems like all these companies are creating these evolutions of themselves, and they're getting processing speeds down. Some now are toting that they're ecologically friendly, and
Yep.
it's a lot happening in this space, as it is in the NFT space. So now you have these NFTs; they're going all over the place. You're in Nansen, and you're looking, you're seeing, and you go to NFT Paradise, you're seeing what's coming out, you're seeing what's minting. How do you position yourself to buy a minting item that's minting? Do you just call the person? Text. How do you do it?
For
Like,
minting?
how do you get in line and say, you know what, I'll pay the minting fee, give it to me?
Oh, they don't. I mean, they don't. I mean, you just go connect your wallet and then do it. So, I mean,
Okay.
if like Yakuza Cat, I connect my wallet and then I'm just waiting, right? I'm just waiting. So the point is, when you're minting from their site. Everyone has it. They're not going to mint because OpenSea is going to be the secondary every time,
Okay.
right? So no matter where it's at, so Yakuza Cat's okay. So it's at 0.25.
Where was it
So
when it
it's
started?
not. So it started. That was the Dutch market. So it starts at zero point 0.8, and then it dropped
It
down to
goes down.
0.03, something like that.
Okay, so a Dutch offering in this crypto space means it starts high, and as time goes on, it comes down.
As time goes on, and the more people buy, the less it gets.
So, what will motivate anybody to be first?
Because if everyone's clamoring, if everyone's waiting in line to wait until it drops, then you're fighting everyone at the frenzy at the bottom. So to me, I view it as I'll buy it higher price if I know that it's going to be a good investment. Versus if I'm just taking a crapshoot and I'm just saying, well, okay, well maybe this is going to be working. Then I'll wait until the price drops.
Okay, all right. Now this is a great conversation for me. So, in Dutch offering in the stock market means that they're offering it themselves.
So I
So
didn't know that.
yeah, so when Google actually came out as a Dutch offering. And so the Dutch offering meant that they bypassed all the fees and it was a much cheaper way to buy a stock or a much cheaper way for the company an IPO than if they went through what's called underwriting. So Dutch offering just meant they were doing it themselves. And so so when you say it, and for those people like me who are, coming from a stock world to this, you got to know these terms. And I had no idea. So it says a Dutch auction is a market structure in which the price of something offered is determined after taking in all the bids to arrive at the highest price at which the total offering can be sold. In this style of auction, investors place a bid for the amount they are willing to buy in terms of quantity and price. Okay.
Mm-hmm. And with theirs, so when you hear it in crypto space with this and they're saying it's Dutch, they're saying, we're going to tell you when it declares. Hey, Lee and Erica's in the house. Great to see you guys. Good times. Great to see you. Yeah, so if you're seeing anything with a Dutch auction when it goes to crypto, 99.999999%, what's going to happen is if you saw it on Yakuza Cats or whatever, or anyone, you first connect your wallet and it's going to say, here's the starting price. So the starting point price was 0.89, and then it will drop down to either 0.08 or it was 0.03, something like that. And the Dutch auction will go down every hour if it's not sold. And every time someone buys and there is a transaction, the price will drop every time until it is sold out. So the problem is a lot of times people will wait all the way to the bottom, just waiting. And then everyone will be like, oh crap, like it's low. And then everyone will try to get in, and then you're only going to get a fraction. So you have to deal with things like that. That's the main one. Now, a lot of these other companies or artists or projects that are dropping, they're dropping just 10K and just right off the bat, and then they're just going from there. That's it. That's all it is.
No, this is actually probably one of the best conversations I think we have on this platform, because for me, understanding the crap and then understanding the reality of like what's a good buy, what's not a good buy, I continuously wonder, and I didn't even know there were platforms that were kind of ranking, if you will, some of these things besides OpenSea. I would get I thought OpenSea was it.
No, and the problem with OpenSea is it's the same way as you're on Facebook and you're like, what's the best social media platform? Facebook's going to say, we're the best. Like you're playing in their casino. You're playing in their casino. So you need something that's either polling the API and curating it or looking at that, or you're having other third parties that's doing their due diligence, or they're presenting you with information that could be beneficial for you in a different light. So again, I have another one. I'm not going to show it on stream. I'm putting together another thing that is going to be like a paid offering if people are interested in crypto and things like that, and that me and Brent are going to be doing. But here's just a few. But again, like the main thing is you could be showing this to people and you could be like, just look at this. If you're not looking at the framework and the systems, how you're reading this, this is just, you could be like, oh, hot contracts, I gotta see what this person's doing. Okay, I'll buy this. It's still, it's like trying to drink from a fire hydrant versus understanding that all three of these do very different things, and then you need to now have the structure of what to do with those things with it. So yeah, those are my three that I use.
This is I'm likening this to the time where baseball cards really hit their zenith. Mm-hmm. Everybody was just going out buying baseball cards, and you had very distinct people. You had those who they live and breathe this, and they pretty much were taking advantage of everybody behind them, and everybody behind them didn't know it. And so you had those who were just like, I'm just going to buy baseball cards in bulk because if I see them, if I buy them, at some point I'm going to get the win. They didn't know how to properly price them. They didn't know how to handle them. They didn't know where to store them. They just were buying baseball cards. And then you had those people who were like, okay, I'm going to wait for everybody to start trading. And then I'm going to jump into that secondary market when they're trading this one card. And I'm going to try to buy that one card because my thought is that the market's already determined that it's valuable and I just have to buy it. Mm-hmm. And then it was that period where it was the low where that was true. But then those people at the top started realizing that if they can create artificial markets, call it what it is, in artificial interest, they can dump these baseball cards to novice who thought they were winning and then move on and actually buy truly valuable cards. That is very similar to what's happening in cryptocurrency right now. I mean, this NFT space. This NFT space is vast. And there are people who are popping up, some of them influencers, some of them not. Some of them just who are people who are in their living room like, let me create something. And no one really knows what's going to shake out at the end. How will value be determined 2 years from now? How will these images that, are interesting that they're selling at this amount, will people still care 2 years from now?
Yeah. And that's why I bought VeeFriends when it first came out, because I just thought that Gary has enough of a following that I knew it was just a matter of time before it was going to be a thing where it was going to pop. Either he was going to make it, he can build his own hype. He can build his own hype. So I knew that. I thought it was going to take about 18 months. I didn't know it was going to only take like 5, but that I'm only looking for artists that already have the ecosystem and have something. The rest can be a crapshoot, like the intergalactic, like the gorillas and what happens with, the yacht club, it doesn't, it's all just speculative. It's highly speculative. And so it's really easy to get off on a wrong path and being taken advantage of. So that's why it's really, as you're seeing, like a lot of these ones that are predicting or telling you, they're saying,
can you bring up VeeFriends while you're doing that?
What, on OpenSea?
Yeah. For anybody who hasn't seen it yet.
Yeah. See, and then the floor is 9 now. That's interesting. Very interesting.
What was it before?
15.
Okay.
Like a couple weeks ago. So I bought mine for 0.6 and I sold mine for 15.
You got it for 0.6 and you sold it for 15?
Mm-hmm. I told you that back in May. I told you in May. Remember in May, I said I was going to get a VeeFriends. And then I was walking and Jay listen, Brent didn't want to hear it. And I was like, I'm buying VeeFriends. You're like, okay. And then hey, remember this conversation?
I do.
You remember? And I was like, okay. So when it popped and he's like, the floor is lava. And I was like, okay. And I sold it for 15.
So for everybody watching, my background is stockbroker. I still didn't necessarily buy into NFTs. And I was like, you know what? I'm trading the technology. And so I was always looking at the technology. And I remember, I watched Gary Vee's thing when he was talking about these doodles and what he was going to do. And I didn't see the value in it at all. But from 15, it's already come down to 9.
Yep. And look how fast. And people are like, I'm going to hold to the moon. And I'll never forget because my father-in-law, so he was like, listen, if you want to invest, like I'll help you invest, because I was like, I think this is gonna pop. I think this is gonna pop. He's like, okay, I'll support. And what is it? I gotta ask Sabrina. Sabrina, what's your dad say to me? What was the analogy he gave me about a hand and a bird? What was it? Two one.
A bird in the hand beats two in the bush.
Yeah. And I was like, so does that mean you want me to sell or buy? He's like, yeah, sell it. And I was like, I'm like, what does that mean? I've never heard that term. He's like, sell it now. And I was like, okay. And that's the thing. Like I invested because I knew that Gary, if it was real or not, could pump it like nobody's business. And he did. And not only that, Gary's smart. Listen, if you look at the contract, yeah, you get his conference and everything, but look at what Gary's getting. Let's see what he gets. He gets 10% of every transaction afterwards. 10%.
In perpetuity, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
that's his royalty for anybody who's watching thinking, like, what does 10% mean?
Yeah. And think about that. So he's done 10% off of a volume of 28K ETH. 10%. I mean, it's amazing. So I knew that if he was going to do a project like this, I wanted in, and that and I really didn't watch any other NFT project, because I was just like, I'm just going to focus on ones that have these very specific ones, like, because then I'm not going to be worried about, is this going to pop? Is this now later on, I'm going to get into Wild World. Have you heard about Wild World?
No, but I'm writing it down.
So I'm going to go into Wild World, and I have another one that is a earn to play game that I'm going to be doing. But that's the point. Oh, one last thing.
So you know what, Doc, we should chronicle the journey to purchasing in Wild World for you and I inside our group.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, we'll do that in the group then. Cool. All right. So we'll talk about that inside the group. But yeah, just to let you know, yeah, Wild World, it's a very interesting project. And we'll go from there. The other one, let me bring it up, and then we'll do it in the group. Hold on one second.
And yeah, this would be good. This would be, as Doc says, this would be good. It's so much complexity, but opportunity in this space, and millionaires being made by the second.
Yeah. It's it's pretty insane. Now I wanted to as well. I need to give, Lee was asking a question, and then we'll do a wrap up in a second. So Lee was talking about, yeah, I'm telling you, yeah, when I saw VFriends, oh, that's awesome. So is it dropped? Yeah, so it dropped back in May. I think this is what you were asking for, Lee. But yeah, now you can get on OpenSea. Would it be best to try and buy before it goes too low? In a Dutch auction, it kind of just depends on the project and if you like what they have. I was always going to get, when Gary was like, it's going to be a Dutch auction, I'd already prepared to spend 1 ETH on it, because I was like, it's still gonna, I thought it could maybe 2x or 3x in like 18 months. It was just a lot quicker, and everything popped. But that's why I did the math on that. And I was like, I'm only looking for 3x at the most, then that would be awesome. So if I'm looking at a project and what's going to happen, that's the main focus of what I'm doing. There's other people that have other things that they think is going to be best. So that's my options. Let's see. And is that because he did his contract outside of OpenSea? You mean why it went up and down in price, Lee?
He means for VFriends?
Yeah. So I would say, which project are we talking about? VFriends? Well,
and if he's talking about VFriends, you got to understand, I'm not sure, Lee, if you follow Gary, but he built in utility and value to his offerings that by and large, most people were going for. They wanted to be part of the Gary V ecosystem. And he was very smart. Like he built in things like meetings with him that maybe not will happen. I think he has something like a conference that he does.
It's gonna be the conference next year for 3 years. It's gonna be 3 years.
He's doing auctions on different things, so it's a lot of offerings. I heard, watched a couple of podcasts on him, like the things he built into these, and he's smart and he's building it into the future. So, kudos.
No, he's saying, so why is Gary getting a cut on every sale? Because he put that in his smart contract.
Yeah.
So
that's a royalty.
Again, this goes back into smart contracts. Depending on the artist, they can decide to do that as well. And so that's why I'm really, Lee, this is what I'm talking about. I'm not getting paid by them, but that's why I'm like, go do a build space course now, because that's what you're learning how to layer. That's the real power of these NFTs or crypto. It's understanding the power of smart contracts, because you can have anything happen automatically with smart contracts and it can never be taken away from you at this point. Now, something in the future, something I never like to say in absolutes, because
there's regulatory risk. So you have regulatory risk inside of this environment, period. But at the same time, it's designed to be DeFi. And so, looking at that, there's no middleman. Like it's supposed to be direct, and it's based off cause and effect. If you meet these parameters and it's proven and it's confirmed through these validators, then it just happens. And so I'm a huge fan of smart contracts, which is why Doc and I are doing this, because it's a lot of information, but there's a lot of money to be made in it. I mean, last week alone in this space, no, not last week, in the last, I say 3 months, I've done about 524% rate of return. And it is a great day when that happens. That's all I can say. But anybody can do this.
Yeah. I'm looking at one other thing, and then I'll stop with all this. But it is a very specific.
And actually, Doc, I need to let you know you have a 12:30 and it's 12:29.
Okay. So everybody, thank you so much. All right, everybody. So we'll talk about this next time. Again, thank you so much for tuning in. If you're interested, make sure you're again part of the community, and of course, join Discord. Then we're going to be announcing we're going to do a premium membership coming up, but make sure you're in the Discord. The link is down below. And we're going to be back next week talking about smart contracts, talking about all these things and how you can make sure that you're getting in on the ground floor and do this. So everyone else, thank you so much for tuning in, watching it either live or the replay. And we'll be back next week with more NFTs and smart contracts with Doc and Brent. Everybody have a great day.
All right, have a good one.